curious, I certainly am. Of course, you won the Sky Arts Portrait Artist of the Year 2020. Now, in that experience, quite apart from, well, and congratulations and well done, and it's very deserved. But that experience of what could be quite a private moment of making, you were filmed, and you were filmed rigorously day after day after day. What was that experience like of having to make out loud, if you like, on camera?
Well, I think there wasn't very much you could control about that situation.
Okay.
But what you did know is there's going to be some person in front of you, and you've got to make a thing in 4 hours. But that is powerful. You know exactly what the format is. You know what you've got to do, and so for me, it was about getting into a mindset where I could do that with distractions. And the way I did it was to imagine I was in a classroom, maybe
like a loud environment, yeah. Okay,
well,
like
I was very specific.
Okay.
It was like, right, okay, teaching year 4. It's snowing outside, week before Christmas, and they've just had a Christmas party.
Got it.
And once you do that, nothing frightens you.
Yeah,
so,
nothing can faze you.
See,
that's it.
That's what I mean. And so it was like happy days. I just put my headphones on, got on with it.
I just wonder because, I mean, yeah, sketching outside or sketching on plein air or sketching groups of people as one does in one's practice, particularly when you're drawing, sometimes people want to lean in and lean over and see what you're doing, and I find that not the easiest thing. It's my most preferred thing, and I just thought you must have nerves of steel to put up with this. But now I see that your nerves have been shattered, perhaps by.
I was there back in year 4, and also you have to think about, well, what's important to me? What is it that I want to get from this experience?
Okay.
And be really focused about that. I didn't think for a second I'd win it, let alone get past the first day. I was saying to the crew after the first time, I was like, going, well, thank you very much, it's been great. I was being really, just saying, because obviously I won't see you again. Because I was thinking, this is great. I couldn't believe I got on it, to be fair. And so I was just being lovely to people and just saying, thank you, because they looked after you. If there's anyone out there thinking of doing it, do it. You've got nothing to lose, and they'll be really nice to you. And I was just thinking, right, don't swear, and don't fall over.
Oh.
Yeah, that was it.
Pretty good guide for any event, actually.
I had a list of words. Basically being at school, again, like, don't say that word or that word, and don't fall over.
You drew many people of all kinds. Some people very, very recognisable names, which again might be intimidating or might be otherwise. One of the things that struck me as I was reading about your experience was that you had this interaction with Eddie Izzard. Now, that's someone who I've been a long time fan of, and I know that during the course of that show, you wrote about the fact that she chose that sort of moment in her life to adopt the female pronoun, a really powerful, really beautiful move. And she's so witty, seems quite physical, very, very engaged, politically very knowledgeable, and yet with this picture you chose to depict her eyes. I have to hear about that, please.
Well, Eddie was all of those things. Hilarious, erudite, brilliant. I could have sat there chatting for, ever. But there was an air of fragility there and vulnerability, because they'd made this decision, and you kind of felt really privileged, really, and so I had to think, what is it that I want to say with this piece? What is Eddie saying to me? And it was kind of just look at me, this is who I am, and that's why I focused in on the eyes, because I thought, do you know what? We don't need to see anything else other than what I can see, and that will be it. That will be enough, and that's why I made that decision.
It is a particular distinct decision, though, to actually commit to being recorded in the act of making, in the act of interacting with one's sitter. So, what do you think the camera can do for artists or for art at its best?
Well, I think it's a tricky situation. I think it depends why you're being filmed, and I've watched that program for years, and so I got the sense that they are very sympathetic to the artist. I think you need to be honest about why you put yourself through this ordeal. For me, the reason I was there was because I got to a stage in my life where I had a bit of a health scare, but I'm fine now. And my mother had died, and so these things kick you at the arse, and they say, right, do you know what? What's it all about? What are you scared of? What are you scared of? Just get on and do it. And so I went a mad phase of just like of looking at all the things I was scared of doing, and doing them, and portrait artist was one of them, and then I just kept getting more and more scared because I was like, oh god, and then
and now there's another
another. But then I just thought, you know what? So my thing was, I'm doing this because I was scared of it, and then you have to think, well, why am I scared of it? And I think if you're honest about your fears for doing something, they kind of dissolve. And then you become more courageous and realise that actually you become more courageous and you become more of the person you want to be, I think.
It's beautiful.
And then everyone around you is happier, and you're happier. It's just contagious, I think.
I really appreciate you telling me that. Thank you.
But and again, I bring it back to my teaching days. It's about giving children the courage to just be who they are, because once they figure out that being who they are is amazing, they want to do it more, and then if they do it more, they become more of who they are, and then everyone around them is touched by that, and then it's just better. Everything's better.
This is the beautiful, vibrant energy that you have. That we're also lucky to share in through your work and through the conversation tonight. We can't leave it without touching upon your current fantastic project that you're working from. The first artist in residence for the National Theatre.
Yeah.
So you've been working on this project, as I understand it, since February. Now, here's something that really struck me about when you told me, once I picked myself up off the ground from sheer amazement and admiration, is that one might think that an artist in residence for the National Theatre might depict the actors and the actresses, but you've gone rogue, if I can put it that way. You've told me that you're sketching the prop makers, the wig makers, people who make costumes.
Basically, everyone's not an actor.
But that's fascinating. What an interesting choice. What is that? Because you would like to show us behind the scenes? What's that to do with?
To be fair, the actors get applause every night they're on the stage. They get told how brilliant they are every night, and I love them. They're really talented. They're fabulous, and what they do is amazing. However, when I was asked by a director who'd seen my work to come and document his show, and I did, and I was doing rehearsals and what have you. But then bits and pieces would arrive in rehearsal, and I go, where have they got that from? Oh yeah, it was made in props. Oh, where's that wig come from? Is that no? Oh, that was done. And I'm thinking, well,
Where are these people?
Yeah. Where are these people? And I said, I want to go and see all these people, please. And
Wow.
it's amazing.
So, but then you're sketching them in their presumably quite small studio spaces.
Yeah, some are big, some are small. So it's like a little factory. They do everything.
Okay.
You know, from making. They've got jars with. And there are people there making eyebrows. Yeah. Look, I could go on. There's.
Okay, so wigs, beading, costumes. But these are very fine detail movements, right? Fine detail, fine technical skill. Yeah. Skills that, I mean, when you sort of broke this sort of area to me the other day, I thought, these are high level skills that perhaps I don't think I'd come into contact with. I would think about the behind the scenes of the theatre, because again, I'm a material nerd, and I think that's something we have in common. I love that you're exposing that. Is there any challenge to working in someone else's studio environment? It's not necessarily your studio.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the only challenge is that a lot of those people are also artists who do that as part of their work. There's
That's
loads
not
of
fair.
them.
It's not. You're not allowed to be that talented.
Oh, it's embarrassing. So I'm there as an artist, but many of them are practicing artists. So it's quite nerve-wracking.
And will we be able to see the show?
Oh yeah, you will.
Next year, we'd like to come.
It'll be in. It's been announced January the 27th. It starts.
And that will be at the National Theatre.
It'll be at the National Theatre in the Littleton Lounge. On the floor of the Littleton Lounge.
That's a huge congratulations.
Thank you very much.
We're so excited for you.
It's all very surreal.
We would like to thank Andrew Etherington, the director of the Bermondsey Project Space, our curator, Philippa Beale, the president of the SGFA, of course, Les Williams, Curtis Holder, for being kindly telling us about his materials and his processes all night, and yourselves, our extremely glamorous and attentive audience, for paying such great attention to us this evening. We'd like to encourage you to stick around and hear the fantastic musician Sarah Say serenade us. And from now, I'd like to say thank you very much, Curtis and everyone, and good evening.
Oh, thank you.
Julie me regardait, ses yeux passionnés me rappellent que les miens se sont émerveillés. Pas pour lui, mais pour un autre, tout est compliqué. Dans ma tête, je le sens, ça commence à secouer. Dans la nuit, je vois que toi, tu me hantes jusque tard, oui. J'étais dans la pensée comme ça, mais j'essaie de garder le contrôle. C'est si fun de l'embrasser quand c'est toi que je veux, de le regarder mais je vois que tes yeux.